Yeah, Karen still tells me wear a mask.
I have something.
Yeah.
So I'm protecting other people from getting what I have, which I seem to have gotten it was so easy to get. All you have to do is be somewhere, or be with the grandchildren, that's it. Oh, there we go, that beautiful smile, hidden by this growly look.
You said they are required that or they were not?
That's what he wanted, but the executive director had said that in public meetings we had to wear masks.
It's a public meeting.
This is not very public. Nobody comes, but at any rate, all righty.
Of course, the numbers were up 62 today. So. Okay, we can start now. It is
All
recorded.
righty, I'm going to call this meeting to order now. It's 3:36. And I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes from March 1st, 2022.
Second.
All righty. All agree, yes?
Aye.
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 Do we have any audience comments?
We did not receive any email, and it was posted on Friday.
People should be more attuned to us. Okay, the correspondence and announcements, PACD March monthly report.
It's in your packet.
It's in your packet, and I was fascinated by this thing about lawn something. That's in the
Lawn conversion. I didn't know
Lawn
what that was.
conversion.
I'll have to find
And I
out.
wonder what that is about, whether anybody else knew about it. But I guess it's a program they're doing?
A grant is.
Yeah, grant, yeah, you can get a grant for lawn conversion. Lawn Conversion Partnership Grant began writing an application to offer lawn conversion sub-grant program. I'm fascinated. I would like to see people have less pesticided lawns, whatever. But
I will check into it.
it's gonna keep us up to date on this. All righty. Next, I'll entertain a motion to file all bank statements for audit.
So moved?
Ray is not paying
No,
attention.
second. I'm here. Second.
Okay.
You could hit the mute button
You're
fast enough.
testing me.
Good job. Okay, all in favor, yes?
Aye.
Aye.
Next up, motion to approve for deposit the following emergency, hi Steve, review fees. Okay. So these are, anybody else, anybody want to make this motion?
I'll make the motion.
All right, good job, Ray.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion request a motion to authorize the payment of PACD district dues of $2,625 from the affiliate fund.
Okay.
Okay, Randy.
I'll second.
Okay, oh, good, thanks.
It will be going up next year by $133, but
Oh.
they did stay with the program. They used to have a program where every class of county paid a different amount. Well, they kept that, but for the last 3 or 4 years, every increase now is across the board. So there's no more. I mean, we had this big, the difference between a class A county and a class 2 county was monumental. I mean, like $1,000. So they've now changed that. So anytime they do a dues increase, it's across the board equal there because they're keeping that same offset from the beginning. So it's
Right.
not getting any worse for it. And I protested that because of the fact that it was based on population. Well, our budget has nothing to do with population.
Right,
It
right.
just depends on what we can squeeze out of county council.
Nor the amount of activities that we
Right.
do in
Yeah.
population either. Interesting. Oh, well, but we're
We're
willing to
good.
pay it because remember there was a while when we didn't pay it. And a tick for them.
And they have been very good for that. What the problem was PACD had lost their way and they were so dependent on grants from NRCS and DEP that they wouldn't even listen to us. They worked for DEP and they worked for NRCS.
Uh-huh.
And that is now, that the grants they get usually are only for the benefit of conservation districts, so they're a lot more, I think they've watched out for that very close. I think we're in good stead now with Brenda at the helm.
Yes. All righty, there are more checks to be signed. The Upper Darby tree tenders, do I need a motion for these?
Yeah, we should probably get motions for all. of them.
So first, I will entertain a motion to pay the Upper Darby tree tenders $500 for their mini grant.
This mini grant was approved prior, and now they're getting their reimbursement for completing the project.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Thank you, Vince. Vince is getting in on the deal now, making motions. It's not going to just be the Randy and Ray show.
Gotta give them person.
Yeah, right, exactly. Alrighty, the next one up is a PACD. Oh, we did that. We did
Yeah,
that.
just, yeah.
That. Okay, the third is the Treasurer of Delaware County transfer of watershed specialist grant funding for $15,183.65. This is for the watershed.
This is for Karen's position. We get
Yeah,
a
we-
grant of
I think it would be nice to.
45 something every year. And they come out in quarterly payment. And then all that money gets transferred over to the county.
Right. So, did I get a motion on that one?
Sure.
Oh, thank you.
Second.
Alrighty, next up, thank you. Next up is old business.
Oh, there's one more, isn't there? Maybe I put-
Watershed,
I'm sorry, I put it down below. Never mind.
okay, good.
We have another one.
All right, do you want to do the other one now?
No, we can wait.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, we
We
want
have-
Vince to be able to.
We have a quorum.
Okay, oh, that's right, we desperately did it. Okay, old business, the Smedley Park Low Volume Road Project.
Okay, we've been meeting with Public Works on this, and they have hired Stantec to do a plan to help put that and get the bid out for this project. We had was $49,000 plus or minus for this project on the low volume road to retrofit a water quality basin that has some maintenance issues, and it has some needs to be naturalized. We're going to try to do some planning
Nice.
afterwards, but basically we got to make sure that it's cleaned out of all the sediment from past flooding events down there, and put a new outlet structure in because the outlet's missing. It's just lost. It gets buried in the sediment, and then they also had a problem with the emergency spillway. So hopefully we can get all these issues resolved with this plan and taken care of. But we're working with Public Works on this now, and they're paying for the engineering part, and then we'll add some cost of doing the work, and hopefully it won't be too hard to get people to bid on this small project, but
Yeah.
I heard it's tough right now.
Because not everybody's busy,
Right. Mhm.
the carpenters I know. Oh, okay. So. Do we need to vote on this? At least.
No, just
No,
the report.
Okay. The low volume road financial deadline discussion then.
Yep, this is the one we talked about the last meeting where you authorized me to be able to pay the county in advance for the Smedley Park project. So we gave them 50% of their funding as allowed, which put us above our spending limit. So we are in good stead. So we will once again qualify for our allocation, which comes out in July, of hopefully $80,000.
Excellent.
It's going to be a difficult thing for us since we only have the low volume road project, and we had the first one was even tougher because when everybody got their money in January, we didn't get it for our first year's allocation until, they get it in July, we didn't get it until January.
All
So
right.
we were like a year behind.
Right.
And trying to get projects done during COVID was tough. So
Right.
we have one that's almost done was that Newtown?
Yeah.
They're done with their project. They just need to wait till they do the final paving, and then we can get their remaining 50% paid. And Millboard's trying to put theirs up for bid right now too. So
Oh, good.
we're moving along, and the county's
Right.
moving along with it.
People are paying attention, yes.
Mhm.
Mhm. Okay, next is the MS4 training session for illicit discharges. sounds terrible.
Yeah, Karen, you want to take that one on?
Sure. So we scheduled April 11th, the morning of April 11th, for the county facility manager stormwater trainings, for illicit discharges and other MS4 stormwater. The goal of this, obviously, is to educate the managers about stormwater and maintenance and management of our county facilities, but us to them and let them know that we help coordinate permit and to have them meet each other too. As well as the board. So that'll take place on April 11th at the emergency center.
It's one of the things that's required once every 5 years as part of our MS4 permit. It's just sort of like the perfect storm here that PACD had a grant through Growing Greener available to help fund this project. And we were able to get Center for Clean Water Act,
Center for Watershed Protection.
Center for Watershed Protection, who's done presentations like this for the Delaware County, Eastern Delaware County COG before, and very helpful. So that's what we took advantage of with all the new people we have, trying to get people's attention when they're focused on so many different priorities. Hopefully this will help us.
Excellent. So hopefully they're all listening well.
If we can get them out, we can get them.
Yeah. Get them there in the first place, huh? Okay, next up is the Envirothon, April 26th.
Yeah, we're gonna move it outdoors again. We're gonna have a live event at Ridley Creek State Park. We have 3 high schools that signed up. We really need to try to recruit more schools because Haverford we lost Mills because of closure. But the other ones are afraid to compete against Pencrest. That's the problem. They're gonna they can't win, so they don't want to play. I've had
Who does that?
Chichester, Garnadelli is all. So hopefully we can find some new advisors. We have that problem. We had Cardinal Harrow and Archbishop, but when their teachers retired, lost them. We couldn't get them back.
That's what we were saying, the teachers do. Vince was saying the teachers do.
Yeah,
Make
once
it.
the teacher's going from that environmental, you gotta get somebody who really was, passionate, wants to spend the extra time.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Haverford started with their environmental aware club, and I remember the first year, the kids snuck out of school and competed with their own without their advisor.
I don't know if there's some way to combine some schools. I mean, maybe you get a couple kids from Upper Darby, a couple kids from Hereford, something like that.
Right,
But you still
exactly.
need that volunteer, right?
Yeah.
They're not allowed to do that according to the rules, but they can do homeschool. We had to homeschool one time, and they did it back the next year.
Homeschools participated well in the poster program, didn't they?
Yeah.
Used to do, they were wonderful,
Yeah, we had it.
right?
This
Yeah.
open to public and private schools?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, anybody?
We had Notre Dame have press interest, and we had the Sacred Heart
Yeah.
press interest. We just can't.
A lot of high schools in the county.
Right.
I think it was like 26. At one time, the biggest event we had was we had 11 high schools participate.
Wow.
Yeah. That was the year Bill Brainerd was out there recruiting.
Oh, geez, yeah.
And
Nice, Bill.
Andy Saul just came in today because he was upstairs meeting with solid waste, and he had mentioned that he's still there. He's not as a little bit frailer.
Yeah, right, yeah.
He hasn't been out pedaling around to come to meetings and stuff. But anybody has any insight into a teacher that might be interested, please, we'll start to promote it. We have a trunk of available resources that Karen had taken out to Interboro and to Strathaven both this year. Sun Valley's the other one I think
Ed, can you repeat what schools you do have? I couldn't quite hear it. I guess it's the math.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. We have
That's okay.
Interboro, Pencrest, and Strathaven.
That's all you have so far?
Right.
Yep. Yeah, that's probably all we've had it, like recently we've been having 4 high schools, and then we lost Haverford and Sun Valley. I don't know what happened to it. We've tried to reach out several times and haven't been able to. Yeah.
So get out there and beat the school.
Yeah.
There are a couple of schools at the state level, home schools, that do really well. One won a couple of years. I don't know if they were in a row or in between, but they're really, there are a couple of home schools that, you know, if they make that really their focus, they
Oh,
can
yeah.
really.
It has to be somebody's focus. They have to,
Right.
yeah, some teacher must take it on, push it. It's just a shame.
Is there like a instructional materials, like a handbook that they use?
Yeah, it's all online now. They have all the resource material. That's something that the Environthon does very well. They have all the stuff organized into the resource material. You have to study for each of the 5 testing stations, and they give you everything you need to know.
There's a level playing field, everybody's learning.
Right.
Oh, yeah, it's just the idea of actually taking the time to do it.
Yeah.
And learn that. I can remember come looking at the scoreboard one year, and they one of the students said, "Oh, they cheated. They must have studied."
What you said before, that Pencrest or the school district, you starts at the middle school level, and environmental clubs.
Yeah, the Pencrest, what they do is he actually has his high school students in his Environthon senior team conduct an Environthon for their middle
So
school.
it's a process,
That's a
you gotta
good way
trust
to
the
do it.
process and aim for a few years down the line, maybe.
Maybe Red should do it the other way around and have the middle school watershed group teach the high school people.
Yeah.
They should flip it around, right?
Yeah.
They say that they can't, if we did it at middle school, they would do it.
And the other reason we lost a lot of schools originally is they went to the block scheduling.
Oh, yeah,
And
right.
all the superintendents wouldn't let your kids block. The day block schedule, like Mississippi. But all the schools have block scheduling now, so it's.
Yeah, and a lot of the clubs have, they're not back since COVID. A lot of the different clubs in the schools. I have a lot of friends that are teachers or have kids that are teachers. And they just don't do a lot of the activities anymore.
Well,
Maybe things will settle down.
Yeah, hopefully.
Right, exactly. But we shall move on. Okay, next up, new business. Resignation of Connor. The audacity, whatever.
yes, Connor Gary finished his master's degree, and he got a job with Nave Newell Engineering Firm. He has left us. I did have the paperwork filed to replace him, but the county right now is because of trying to fill the health department and the prison, they're really backed up with trying to hire people. I haven't gotten approval to advertise, so I will continue to all the way.
Press for it, right? Yeah.
I got approval for the from Francine Law, the supporting the filling of the position. So that's not the stop. It's just going through the paperwork.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, I hope he enjoys his new position. It was nice having him here, so there we go. Okay, next up, the PACD Growing Greener Mini Grant, $2,000. Switch from Smedley Park Water Quality Board to Fair Acres Basin. Oh, tell us all about this, Ken. This sounds complex.
So we had originally planned to work with the master gardeners and the master watershed stewards to come up with a planting plan for the water quality basin at Smedley Park. Since then, the project has grown into the road project. So that seems to be taking a little longer than we were expecting. And the PACD grant is set to expire at the end of April. Yes, the end of April. So we were considering switching the project over to a planting at a basin at Fair Acres. And that way we could spend the funds by the end of April, and then we'd be able to submit an addendum report after the project has been installed. However, right now it seems like there are construction plans for Fair Acres, so we don't know if we're going to be able to do the planting there. Because that basin might be disturbed as part of the construction. So that's where we're at with that project. So we're trying to figure out how to use this grant money and still work with the watershed. But it is challenging.
Right.
Yeah, when I asked Public Works and also buildings and maintenance about the project because I couldn't find anybody at Fairacres to talk to. And Karen found someone at Fairacres that approved the project. So when I circled back to Public Works and maintenance, they said, well, we better check to make sure that we're not going to be building there. So the only project I heard them talk about at all is right next to this place, medical examiner's office. They're going to be retrofitting or modeling. I didn't think it was going to be outside. But
Yeah.
I thought it was all going to be internal, but we'll see. They haven't gotten back to me yet, or whether or not. And I asked to send another email today. They're all excited when
Ray, you're making a lot of noise that we can hear. Excuse me.
Me?
You're the only Ray here.
I'm making a lot of noise. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I mean, it's a little distracting because whatever you're doing turns out to be
My
loud.
apologies. I'm sorry.
You should probably maybe turn down your volume, perhaps.
Yeah, I'll stay on mute. Sorry.
Okay. It's all right. Don't take it personally. It just got to be really loud. Okay. Just a little.
Yeah, so hopefully we can get this approved. They'll get back to me.
Yeah.
I mean, the woman in Danielle Floyd is the new Public Works Director. She's brand new, so she's got a lot of things on her plate. And they got a lot of projects going on at Ferry because I guess they're moving part of the health department into some of the abandoned buildings there, and they're doing a couple other retrofits in Ferry. So
I was wondering where they were going to put the health department.
yeah, they got them all over. There's more than one building, but they're going to have some part of it at Ferry too. But I don't think it's involved this year. So medical examiners, I think, is the only thing that could possibly affect it.
That's more an internal reorganization.
I thought that's what it was. Yeah, because I thought they were moving the library out.
Right. We shall find out. All right. No good intentions go unchallenged.
We're trying.
Yes. Okay, but thanks, Karen. Next up is the revised conservation planting trailer grant.
Yeah,
for servicing.
we've had the trailer with all the equipment on it for the 7 years now, and we had a Growing Greener grant to do some corrective actions on it, try to fix some, replace some broken equipment, and then maintain it. Well, one of the things that we needed to do was all our power equipment hasn't been serviced, and we sent it over to RJ Power to have, what is it, 7 different powered items that we have, and they did for $782. They went through the carburetors and got everything up to speed and everything functioning properly. We did lose one of the weed whackers, so they think somebody ran gasoline in it and scoured it. For 6 years, that's pretty good for a weed whacker.
Very good.
So we already had a backup of that in the closet, so we
good.
replaced that one
Yeah.
already.
Plus the ethanol eats those engines up.
Oh, yeah.
We asked them only to use 89,
Yeah.
but yeah, as they do. It's on the wall written.
Right.
But we have some money to also, we want to get another auger and replace some equipment before that grant expires. So we're working on that. The other thing, we had some bad news is that we had a company, Cargo Sales, that had a guy that would move the trailer around for us, and he's retiring, and they don't want to do it anymore. So we're looking for someone now to.
How often do you move them?
It varies by season. Definitely more busy in the spring, and like right now it's in Chester County, so we took it to their conservation district, and they're using it every weekend in the month of April. So I mean, if it were reserved by all the different counties during the month of April, it could be transported once a week, twice a week. But in the off season, you might not hear from me for a couple months. So it varies by season.
Just in the spring and the fall, and we were being charged $85 an hour, which wasn't too bad. That he would, from the time he left his It was sort of centrally located because they're in Lansdale, so that made it easier. We do have one company that wants $90 an hour, but they're in Quaker, Texas, maybe a little further out, which might add to the cost. So we're looking into that right now, but it was very convenient for 6 years. We had this company do it. And what they do is they just take it to the district. And we got in trouble because all the watershed specialists changed and people didn't realize that that's what we did. And they were trying to get it to go to the site. So it got a little bit more complicated. But no, we're just looking at the district and everybody, watershed specialists could either remove it themselves or they can have the person that's running it come pick it up, which is what happens most. Except we deliver it to some of the small groups here. Because that's what we got the truck for. So it's working out pretty good. So I think we'll get this rectified soon, hopefully. And we got a little month reprieve here until we have to find somebody.
I got a truck and a trailer, a hitch.
But you have time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other problem. We had Gretchen's husband, or not husband, but partner. He said that he could do it in a pinch too. So it's just the idea of whether or not that's a conflict of interest or not. So we're looking into it.
Yes, it must. Careful what you say.
I appreciate it.
So we do appreciate it.
Can I, before we move on to the reports, I do have mini grants.
Yes, I saw there was another piece of paper here somewhere with the mini grant, right? Oh, here it is, yes. Didn't make it in the agenda, huh?
No, sorry about that.
So we did receive 3 applications this round for our mini grant program. One was from the Willistown Conservation Trust. They were applying for a project as a partner with DCBA for the first application here, but since they are located outside of Delaware County, similar to the last round, we received a similar application for the same application. They are ineligible since they're outside of Delaware. So Darby Creek Valley Association applied for $500 to continue their stream monitoring program. So this is a community science program run by DCBA and Willistown Conservation. It's taking place currently mostly in the headwaters of the Darby Creek. And they have trained volunteers conducting stream monitoring. And they are expanding this farther down the watershed and portion of Fox Creek. They're asking for funds to purchase stream monitoring supplies like pH test strips, conductivity meters, thermometers. And the other application that we received is from Sacred Heart Academy. This is an ongoing project, and the person who has been running it for so many years is trying to take it off her plate. So she's having someone from the school submit the application, but this has always been a partnership between Sacred Heart and DCBA. They do invasive plant removal. There's a spot down on Sacred Heart's campus that's a wetland area with Meadowbrook running through it, and that's part of the Darby Creek watershed. So they are applying for funds to plant native trees, shrubs, and herbaceous material during the spring and fall of this year. And that will take place after cleanups and invasive removals. So those are the 2 applications that we received for the spring program.
Excellent. So we need a motion to approve of these, correct?
Correct, yeah.
All right.
Make a motion.
All right, thanks, Vince.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, good.
And just as a heads up, Karen and I have been talking, she's been going over the mini grant program that we have and is contemplating making some changes to clarify some of the issues that she's running into. So we'll try to work up some revisions to that and for the next meeting.
What kind of, just as lately, what kind of issues are you running into?
Just clarity with the eligible organizations and projects.
Right.
And some of the things that our funds can first. I know there are some organizations that have wanted to apply but hold back because the requires that every grant contribute overhead costs,
Wow.
like wages and salaries and things
Right,
like that. We want
which-
to see
yeah.
the funds go towards projects.
Right. Excellent. So you're gonna tighten up those rules or whatever, right?
Make them more clear.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll draft something hopefully by the next board meeting
Okay,
for everyone to review.
good, thanks. I'm glad you're looking at it now. Excellent. Okay. All righty. So we're done with that. We have our grants done. Oh, we did both of them, right? Sacred and Dorothy Creek Valley, right?
Yes.
All righty. Beth, is Beth still there? Beth?
I'm here.
Yes, are you are even in your whole face and everything. Oh, wonderful.
So I just wanted to let everyone know that we are holding our local working group meeting on April 18th at 9 in the morning. It's going to be held via Teams, and that meeting is intended to solicit input from stakeholders on our programs. So we hold it every year. We haven't held it in a few years because of COVID, but now we're back and we're going to do it again. So it's going to include Philadelphia County, Delaware County, and Chester County in the same meeting. So everyone's invited to attend, and I will send out probably an email with that information in it. And there's also a survey that you can fill out if you can't make the meeting. So,
Okay, good. That'll be good.
and that's really all I have.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming by and telling us about it. That's good.
Sure.
All righty. Okay, next up, Linda.
Okay, so I'll just highlight a couple of things on my report, but then also, I want to give you an update about the compliance specialist, Frank DeFrancesco's position. Southeast Regional Office, the interviews have been held, and it's now kind of the process of where they go from here. And then eventually, I understand within a couple of weeks, an offer will be made, but that doesn't mean that you'll have somebody, because then it has to go through HR, and that can take a really long time. So we're still looking at, I'm just gonna guess that it's probably at least a couple months before somebody's actually sitting in that position, but Bob Page has been really on it. Really on top of things as much as possible. So, certainly reach out to him if there are sites that have been sitting. He really wants to take care of anything that's outstanding, that's a problem. If it's something that's kind of been, sitting, waiting for enforcement, and, there's not much that can be done about that right now, but in terms of, continuing the case building, or if there's a real problem on a site that you could use a field order, definitely let him know. And he's really working to be very responsive. He's put a lot of work into compiling all of the sites that were still outstanding when Frank left, and then any that have come up. So he's really trying to keep moving that forward. But mostly his effort has gone to kind of understanding the world of everything, all the outstanding sites that are out there that need assistance. But he's very interested in, pick up the phone or shoot him an email. I'm sure you guys have gotten emails.
Yeah, I'm just surprised he hasn't, one of the things we did is a monthly enforcement conference.
Yeah.
And they haven't started that up yet.
No. And the other thing is the roundtable meeting. I really tried to get some traction on a roundtable meeting, and I think they're just so busy between John and Bob. Now, I'm going to really push for a roundtable meeting to happen, but then you're saying that you would really appreciate, at least some updates about, what, if any, movement has happened on outstanding cases.
Yeah,
So
because we have a couple big ones.
Yeah.
Okay. Carol, I met with Carol we had a teleconference the other day on trying to figure it out. And it's problematic because Carol's a 105 enforcement, and 102 issues that we need to resolve,
Okay,
and there's no one handling that part of it.
okay,
Yeah, so,
okay. Well, I'll take that back and
you know,
maybe,
I think Bob, I don't know if he was in that meeting or not, but
He was.
yeah, so he was in there.
okay, so he's familiar with the site.
Yeah, that was
But
good.
you could just use an overall update.
Yeah, and then we have another site where, they had a permit to build, they only came in for one lot, and then they built all 15 or 13
Oh,
of them
wow.
without permit.
This isn't like a minor thing.
Yeah,
That's
In-
been
Kind of.
I'm sure.
there almost a year to the
a
date,
year.
and it's pretty, I mean,
Okay.
I'd say cut and dry, the site.
Yeah, it was a site
Yeah.
that, started 30 years ago. They put the road in, and, the developer passed away. And then all the heirs have been fighting for it for that long. And then all of a sudden they got permission to build, and they came in with the one, they didn't think they were gonna need a permit because they had one road, but they were building, cutting and filling, so they were over an acre, so they needed the permit. And then
Right,
it just
right,
kept going without a
Right.
permit.
Harvard Lane in Radnor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
okay. I know that he had or we had, maybe Bob wasn't quite, or it was right during the Chris Broad, Bob Page transition. And there was a call held. And then I think after that, Bob Page had a call with each individual district. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah.
But that was a while ago,
Yeah.
if that happened.
We had one meeting, John tuned
Okay.
in after Frank left, but,
Yeah, I think I was on that call.
yeah,
Okay, so I'll let Bob know that you need either an individual call with just you or with everybody. It's always nice to hear what's going on in the region with everybody, so is that an okay?
yep,
to-
that's what I
okay.
would like, yeah.
Okay, all right, awesome. Awesome, okay, well, I will carry that back. The only, the one thing that I wanted to highlight was, because, and it wasn't down here anywhere, but there's been some confusion about when meetings have to be sunshine. So if you're having any committee meeting, it doesn't matter if there's a quorum. Any committee meeting that has any members of the board, that they need to be advertised, and that includes the QAB meetings. So I just wanted to make sure, I think you guys know that and you're doing it, but I think it got lost in the, in the time span at some districts. And, with COVID, with holding meetings kind of, just over the phone, that gets a little, casual at times, but especially now that we're kind of getting back to doing more in person. And regardless, any of those meetings need to be advertised, and I just wanted
Yeah,
to.
we don't have any committees.
Right,
We do have the Environmental Quality Board, and we advertise that, proceeding 1 hour before this meeting, our board meeting, every time we have it. And
awesome,
if we don't have it, they cancel it.
Right.
So,
awesome. Yep, that's all. Awesome. Okay, and then if you attended, lastly, if you attended the topic-based, training, please do fill out that evaluation and any and all. If any of you, and I know, Michelle, you were, subject to past, like a decade ago, past, trainings. And we have improved that dramatically. So that is because we actually started paying attention. I'm on that work group. I started on that work group about 11 years ago, and there's a small little nugget of us, 4 or 5 of us that have been on it for like 11 years. And there are many other members, but we started out diligently listening to the evaluations, which was never done before. There may or may not have been evaluations done, and it was just like, well, this is how we're doing it. And so it's improved, I think, dramatically, but still, we're looking for critiques, what you liked, what you didn't like, because we read them and we really take them seriously. So-
were they gonna record those sessions?
Yes, they are.
Good, because there's
Yeah.
some, Michelle told me some stuff I just need to hear.
Yep. Yeah, because there were some great sessions.
Yeah, but there's also
speakers from
stuff,
all
I
over.
always get, when you let certain districts speak and they say stuff that we're not doing. And I just wonder, okay, I understand they're doing it, like when, Eric Councilman talks. I understand what he wants, but that's not what the law says. So we sort of like need to have sort of like a judge and jury there to sort of say, okay, time out, wait a minute. That's a good idea, but it's not required, so.
It's easier when it's in person because
Right.
you can kind of, because Sean Projanic, the program manager in central office is, you know, he definitely is attending them and he will kind of sign off on the content.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, it's a difficult thing to do, yeah.
yeah,
We've always even had problems when we had the regular training, just that, because all you got to hear it is one training, and if
yeah,
not everybody attends all the training,
right,
so if one person hears it, and nobody else hears it, and they don't revise it to the operating procedures, then we're gonna get an evaluation, and we're gonna say, why aren't you doing that? I don't know, when were we supposed to do that?
Well, and it really depends on who you talk to because I know a couple of the speakers that has been mentioned and they will go back to the regs. And so a little bit of it is interpretation because like that's the case with
Right.
all of
Everything.
this. Some of it's interpretation. So I think that we would be argued with that it's not in the regs. So, you know, everybody
Yeah.
has a slightly different kind of tweak on.
Yeah, and it's
not
really
written
tough
down.
with the central office because they don't do this. They don't process
Right,
permits, so,
Right,
so that, yeah, they sometimes come up with some great ideas that don't work.
right.
So, yeah, I'm not, no, but, so, yeah, I'll listen to a couple of things that sort of, set my senses
Yeah.
on fire a little bit.
And definitely, if it does, email Sean and, you know, there will be an FAQ about it.
Gotcha.
If,
Okay, thank you, Linda.
oh, you bet. That's it.
Oh, great.
Didn't need to take so long.
Thank you. Solved a lot of problems for others. They're all beyond my ken, but great. Okay, well, thank you, Linda. And next up, Ed, it's your turn.
We got a few things on the list. We did have a update on the spotted lanternfly.
Sounds exciting.
It was surprising that they weren't as bad last year for us as they were the year before.
Right.
So we don't know if there's gonna be any grant funding available this year because they never know until the budget's approved. So we're just waiting to see, but there's been, I think, 16 more counties added, so the amount of money that they would have available is probably, we had 7,000 last year. So I can't imagine if they do come out with money, it's gonna be too great. But we'll see. Their priority now is to try to deal with the spread along highways and transportation corridors, but because you can see the ribbon of spotted lanternfly sightings along the interstate and along the rail lines. It's pretty pronounced where the spotted lanternfly are going.
And with taking down all the ash trees too, it's amazing. I was on the turnpike. It was amazing to me how devastated it is because all the ash are gone.
Well, from the emerald for.
Yeah, right, exactly. They're taking them all out down, I guess because they could fall down or do it, you know.
Excuse me. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Vic.
Yeah, so the spotted lanternfly, well, maybe while they're out there taking those down, they can inspect what's happening with the spotted, you know, doing all at the same time. We hope people will have a clue both.
And the other thing I've been working on was with the planning department, one of the things that has to be done for the MS4 program is that by August of this year, the 2022 stormwater ordinance needs to be updated. I had worked with Ann Stopper and the planning department and got Francine on board, Locke, to do an update of that. So we hired the same consulting engineer that Chester County used to do this process. And they've been working on it, Cedarville Engineering, and they're working on it right now. We've had a few meetings to set up the process, but it's not involved a lot of changes, but we want to get it in the county Crum Creek ordinance, which is our latest and greatest stormwater ordinance. And so everybody doesn't lose the 167 part of it when they do the stormwater ordinance. So that's the goal. We're also going to try to deal with this as being a part of the concept for updating of 167s in the future and find out what the public and the municipalities want to do. So we're on the right track, and we have a very tight time frame to get it into the municipality's hands, but I think the consultant seems to be, with the preparation they had with Chester County, are know where to go and how to get
Right,
there.
exactly, it's big help.
Mhm. So that's another big thing. You'll see that I had 29 erosion control plan reviews, which is kind of tight. At least I had to concentrate on that a little bit, but we're still have 23 plans pending. A lot of plans are coming in all of a sudden. There was a bigger month this month for plan submittal, and we have 10 permits that Ari and Michelle are working on now, the process. We also have some problem children in the erosion and sediment control review. We have 322 is section 103 where they're doing the widening, and also part of that 322 was CXX bridge where they were doing it in advance of the 103 coming through. And we've had to review those twice now and had elevated reviews because they're just, it's a typical PennDOT project. And since we had so much problems with 102 and the contamination that we had from them getting sediment pollution coming off, we're trying to make sure that we do as best a job as we can. And it's just not clear on how they're going to do it. So we've had meetings with them, and hopefully they'll come back in better and more clear and be able to be a plan that contractors can implement. The other problem we have is the airport's really expanding. They have consolidated stockpile plan coming in. At the same time, they have a Tinicum Island Road relocation. And both of those plans were terrible when they first came in. I think it has to do with the fact that we had a person there. What's her name now?
Pat Quigley.
Pat Quigley, yes. Pat was sort of the one that coordinated all the airport projects, and she was in tune with what the region and us were saying to them, and helped get them better tuned when they first came in. She had retired from that position, so a new person's taking over. That it's just so tougher. Yeah. So we've had meetings with them, and there's one in here due now that I'm a little bit overdue, that I need to get the Tinicum Island Road project reviewed third time. Yeah. So those are the problem ones that we have right now. Taking up quite a bit of time because they're big.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
All righty, well, thanks, Ed. Nice to know you have some big problems, always fun. Okay, next up is Michelle.
All right, yeah, just a few pre-application meetings. One was for another county park. So we were trying to help guide them on how to submit their multiple projects. And we also had a few teleconferences with the staff at the regional office to discuss some of the sites, one of the ones that I had mentioned earlier. So hopefully we'll get them on track. And then, as Linda has mentioned, Ari and I had attended what was virtual, the topic-based technical training, and that was for 2.5 days last week. So, and then just other things, before Connor left, we judged the environmental science category at the Delaware County Science Fair this year. So it's first year in 3 years that interviews were held with the students in person. So that went pretty well. And then we got the poster contest brochures developed. So it's a little bit later this year due to the fact that they added a digital category, and we needed some clarification from the state on how that should be judged. And they needed clarification from the National Association. It took some time. So they will be going out this week, but it's a little behind normal. Other than that, yeah, just got a handful of complaints that have come in the month of March. So most of the inspections conducted were for complaint sites. And that's all I have to report.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next up Ollie?
I attended the same meeting that Michelle and Ed had mentioned, with DEP, just to kind of, get a status update for one of the sites that we've been handling. I had one pre-construction meeting for a Wawa out in Darby Township, and then I attended the virtual topic-based training. But that was super helpful. I think PCSM spreadsheet, I could probably watch a video on that all day and still learn something new. And then there were a couple of inspections I attended. I also took care of one complaint, and 2 extension requests were approved. Hoping that the Delcora project will come back with something complete towards the end of this month. And then I will be attending the in-person training coming up in a month from now exactly. So I might not be here for the next board meeting, but I will be attending some training.
Good. Very good. So you've been here a year now.
Yep.
Gloves are off.
It's okay. You guys can stop being nice to me now.
Okay, next up, thank you, Randy.
No problem.
Next up, Karen.
Yeah, so March was pretty busy, spring events starting to gear up and gearing up very quickly. So I spent some time down at Glen Providence Park. We started out with doing a live staking project down there with the Master Watershed Stewards, the Friends of Glen Providence Park, and the local school in media. So we have some 4th graders out there helping us live stake around the old Christmas tree project. So the goal there is just a little extra reinforcement around the Christmas trees. And then a couple days later, we extended the Christmas tree installation. And I worked with the Parks Department and another Master Watershed Steward to anchor more Christmas trees just around the bend from last year's project at another eroding stretch of that street. So that seems to be holding up well, although I haven't seen it during a heavy rainstorm yet. So we have yet to see how well it holds up.
But the first one, they lost 1 tree out of all the ones they put,
That's amazing.
and they had some very big storms last year, if you recall. So I'm very pleased with the work that's being done with Karen and coordinating with the Park Department. Norm Bennett is the park superintendent who is taking these on because he's interested in it, and I think he's done a very good job.
Excellent.
They had a really good team down there. So it only took us a morning. Last year it took us almost a full day.
Yeah.
They were experienced and they got it done pretty quickly, which was nice because it was very cold.
And the live stakes is interesting too, is Karen went out and harvested it with the master watershed people, so those are all the live stakes. And I think you said like 75 you put in?
Yeah, probably at least 75.
Live stakes.
Do you have any volunteers that want to plant more Christmas trees?
Plant more Christmas trees.
I got 1,850 coming in on Thursday.
Oh, geez.
Not that many.
I get credit for that somehow.
Exactly. Some of these high schools.
That's see my trees. Right?
Yeah.
I got a couple out there.
$1,800.
That's just this week. I got another 2,000 coming in 2 weeks. The
Two.
trees, you can't buy Christmas trees. They're so expensive and hard to get.
Right,
The cut trees.
right.
So we're just gonna plant a bunch more.
Right.
You using a dibble or you use it actually during the hole?
Again?
A little dibble bar to put them in or?
No, we've got augers.
Augers,
These,
okay.
these are like,
Oh,
you know,
Okay.
5-year-old trees.
nice.
I got you, okay.
It was tough last year. I remember there was a shortage of Christmas trees last year.
We sold out by December 10th.
Whoa.
Done.
Give you a little more this time.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'll keep you in mind. Let's see here. I attended a downspout planter installation demonstration. It's like a retrofitted rain barrel, so it collects water from your downspout lets it soak in and eat some nice plants. And we're actually gonna be installing one here outside.
Very nice.
Right by the walkway with the watershed stewards.
Excellent.
Just a couple other things I want to highlight real quick. So there are, the NIFWIF National Fish and Wildlife Foundation has a grant application that was due in March. So you can see the list of some of the projects here. I know there's got to be a whole lot more in Delaware County, but these are the ones that we provided letters of support to. So that's just to show you some of the support going on in town. And then I did want to mention the Water Center at Penn has been doing research for a couple of years about developing a Cobb's Creek watershed organization or association or some kind of group of concerned individuals about conservation in that watershed. So they received funding from NOAA to put together a watershed partners team and advance that research. They invited me to be part of that team. So it's 2 watershed specialists, or myself and Brian Medino, and then Jamie Anderson from Water Collaborative. I think someone from BC. So there's a whole bunch of different organizations, regional organizations, government participating. So,
The UCBA considered Cobb's Creek like a sub-watershed of them.
yeah, so I think that's going to be part of the discussion. I think they want to, this is stemming from the Cobb's Creek Environmental Center, I believe. I know that they're participating in this study as well. I'm wondering if they want to have a dedicated Cobb's Creek watershed group. Yeah, maybe separate from or in addition to, or cooperating with DCBA.
I have a question about this Redner Township West Wayne Preserve water quality improvements. There's a lot of pushback within the community about it.
Okay.
It's because that area has, in most people's mind, functioned as a stormwater retention basin all the way it is, just the way it is. And the idea of tearing out all of the trees and putting in I think it's a concrete kind of basin or whatever in there has made people uncomfortable, since it will pretty much denude the landscape there. And we had a trail grant that was going to bring us in there to have a kind of nature walkway to be able to see. There are frogs there, turtles, all those kinds of things. And I need to be able to justify it to people.
Okay. Yeah. So this project, if I remember correctly, I don't remember seeing anything about tree removal in their summary.
No, they are.
Okay.
I remember letters of support for that too. I don't remember that either.
Yeah.
Right.
They're writing the
So
summary.
the west, this is probably not the whole project. Bradford Township's going through with a separate project, probably. They have a permit for it and everything, where they have a big pile of contaminated silt they're removing.
But I don't know how the field got contaminated there, but
It sounds like it was brought in by Radford, but way years
oh,
ago.
really?
Yeah,
Mm.
I don't know that. That's what I remember thinking when I heard it.
Yeah, this project had been awarded, they received a Growing Greener grant as well for this project. I don't know if they
Remember that they're applying this season for both the NIFWIF and DCNR.
Yeah, so that's going to be supplementing Growing Greener.
So it's just interesting that I don't know whether they're not clear in presenting what is going to happen, or this is a knee-jerk reaction from people, I don't know. But there are a lot of trees that are going to come down there. Now they may not be healthy trees in some respects, but it does function as a kind of green space for people that live there. And it's, and it doesn't have a lot of storm water happening, there's not a lot of overflow there. And they're saying that they needed to take care of this storm water, but this spot takes care of the storm water.
Right.
So I just wondered what you knew about it, but.
Yeah, I'm wondering, so this one, and I think the Conway Park, I don't want to misspeak here, but I do remember reading about ash trees being taken down.
Right,
And
I could
believe it
understand.
was at Westland.
Right,
So, I mean, those, if they're
Oh, yeah,
suffering from EAP.
they're going to be coming down anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think part of the problem with West Wing was, or also, I don't know, there was a parking part and for parking. But then down by it goes underneath the railroad track, and the culvert was blocked. So they were going to open that up so it didn't flood down over the hill. So I don't know that there was a lot of earth moving, other than removing that damaged fill. The basements were in there.
It's interesting. I guess I should ask them for their total project overview, so that.
Yeah, there's a
because-
couple big basins they're digging out, so they are making more stormwater. Air volume control, but yeah.
Yeah. So it's just, everybody, apparently everybody has written in and said that it's a good project, but the people are going, I don't know, what is this?
Right, right.
Yeah, because it is kind of, it's obviously a green, not strictly attractive park, but it is a green area with lots of trees in it that people appreciate. And it's right next to the trail. So the idea is they're going to be cutting it out, this whole area that kind of shades the trail,
Okay.
which is another issue, I suppose.
Right.
Yeah.
And NIPWIF focuses specifically on habitat improvements. You're shaking your head.
Yeah, I doubt if this will improve the
Right,
habitat.
well then, maybe NIPWIF will consider it.
Right, yeah.
But I do know, most of these applications do work in habitat improvements and plantings and,
So,
work storm.
so people should be more confident about that this is the right thing to do. I think that when they described the concrete installation,
Flow channels?
I don't,
No, nobody does that anymore, hopefully.
No.
this thing's been wandering around through Radnor for at least 20 years.
Right.
Since we turned down someone was going to build there for a while, and then we proved to them that it was not, we thought we did, but Delaware County found that they could build there, and then we had to buy the land from the people who did it, it's just been a big headache all along, but, so I'll tell them that people I know are confident of these things, so I think they're doing a good job of them.
Yeah, based on the information that they sent me, if they don't send me enough information, I ask for more, and I, expect these organizations to provide me
Right.
the scope of the project.
I would too,
so that
certainly
it's
they have to
something-
deal with you more than once, so you would think they wouldn't want to burn you in any way.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And, we identify, make sure it lines up with our mission and our goals.
Right, good, okay. I just figured I better do that now.
But that's why you're on the board.
Yeah,
That's why these
exactly.
people are on the board. Because you know the local happenings and raise concerns, and then the staff follows up to
Right.
meet your satisfaction, because you're signing off on,
Right. The same thing, right?
or like, if not we, but you are
Mhm.
signing off on a letter that
Mhm.
is recommending a project.
Right.
So good for you.
Just a question, I don't know. Okay, well,
Make a motion to adjourn?
all righty. I'm sorry I extended it.
All right.
I'll second it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll
All right.